Do you smell it, son? The rancid odor of injustice in the world? Do you find yourself awake at night, wishing that there was something more you could do for your home world? Well, you can.
The galaxy itself cries out for liberty, and you can be its messenger.
Shed the weight of doubt and take on the mantle of freedom by joining. Sorry about that. Where were we? Helldivers 2 is ridiculous. It's wacky, unashamed, and a shitload of fun. Against all odds, Sony actually published a good live service game.
Indubitably, quite impressive indeed, my lord.
Considering the graveyard of failed live service shooters, it would have made sense for Helldivers 2 to just be another corpse on the pile. But that didn't happen. It became an internet sensation, an invocation of an unfamiliar feeling of interstellar camaraderie. And of course, friendly fire. Resist that urge to flame your fellow squad mates. The freedom of Super Earth depends on it. Everybody was talking about this game. Me, my grandma, my grandma's neighbor, my grandma's mailman. What are you doing over at your grandma's? Shut up, bro. Like, she's cool. Being very much inspired by the classic Starship Troopers, this pulled on the heartstrings of dudes and bros alike, quickly amassing a cult-like following of freedom enjoyers. But a lot can change in a year. Has this game actually fallen off? Is it worth playing in 2025? Or has Super Earth fallen prey to the devices of evildoers? That's what I want to talk about. But before that, a brief word from today's sponsor. We've seen a series of one-car accidents recently involving rollovers and serious injuries to passengers. I don't know if it's video games or what, but it's so unfair to, after something has happened like this, to blame people in the back or say they deserved it. I don't like consoling these parents after what's happened, but I'll do it until you subscribe. Will you please subscribe? I'm Beebo Baggins. We've become all too familiar with the pitfalls of modern live service. Every game wants to be the new Fortnite and fails time and time again. They spend so much time chasing trends they forgot what their studio is good at to begin with. A game for everyone is a game for no one. That's the Arrowhead Studio motto, and I couldn't agree more. 2024 was a hell of a year with game releases like Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, Black Myth Wukong, Space Marine 2, Black Ops 6. On paper, it looks like Helldivers would have their work cut out for them, but that's not really how I see it. Because when I look back at the best releases in the PvE shooter space, I don't see much competition other than the dwindling Destiny 2 fanbase. And we all know how that's going. I don't know why, but for some reason it seems like it's really hard for developers to nail down a multiplayer PvE experience. Blizzard was literally trying for almost 10 years to do it with Overwatch. Once again, we know how that went.
With everything we've learned about what it takes to operate this game at the level that you deserve, it's clear that we can't deliver on that original vision for PvE that was shown in 2019.
Which ultimately sucks, because it's probably my favorite genre of video games. Don't get me wrong, I can appreciate the sweat lodge of a Marvel Rivals match, but I don't want to always be so motherfucking bent out of shape to get one elim in the most lopsided match of all time. Oh, you gonna be okay. That bad. Has he been taking his meds? Probably hasn't been. Yeah, I don't want to always be trying so hard. And PvE games are the literal antidote. Showing your skill over an individual, that's cool, sure. But you know what's even cooler? Overcoming the impossible as a team. And I think Helldivers 2 does it better than anyone. So what makes Helldivers special? What sets it apart from its competition? Well, it comes down to a couple of things. It's weapons, it's physics, and it's enemy density. Helldivers doesn't just slap on a loadout and call it a day, no. It arms you to the teeth with weapons of mass destruction. Guns in this game feel good, like really good. Every shot, every explosion, every desperate last stand feels weighty and impactful. A true testament to this game's impeccable sound design. Laying into the crowd of Terminids with the MG43, bro, I never knew I needed this in my life. But what really sets this game apart is its stratagem system. Need an airstrike? Call one in. Need a Gatling turret? Drop that shit straight from orbit. Need more ammo? Bam! Delivered straight to your feet. Or on top of my head. That's fine too. Stratagems aren't just win more buttons. They're tied to button combo grenade throws, adding a layer of friction and rewarding you for planning ahead. It's simple, but genius. Compare that to something like Call of Duty kill streaks. When you are in the attack helicopter, it just hovers up there, mowing down enemies while you twiddle your thumbs. But in Helldivers, you are the kill streak. airstrike. You are the airstrike. Having all that firepower in the palm of your hands makes you feel like the baddest motherfucker on Super Earth. It seems like delayed gratification is one of the core tenets of this game, and I think that's its real secret sauce. With how your weapon takes a moment to line up from where you were aiming last, and how every stratagem is tied to a cooldown, and even how the barrages themselves take time to fully unload their salvos, it gives you a moment to become aware of what you're about to do, and let this bro say his prayers. It's something that I harp on a lot, but I think it's important. Committing to what you're good at is where you breed success, and this is where Helldivers shines. And because this game is so committed to tomfoolery, no two missions ever feel the same. 1 minute, you're a well-oiled war machine, and the next, you've obliterated half your squad because you accidentally dropped that 380 barrage. The friendly fire system makes every engagement an unpredictable mix of precision and complete shenanigans. It's the only game where you can barely make it out alive and also be responsible for 90% of your team's deaths, and somehow that makes it even better. The game's physics and movement mechanics also elevated above most other shooters. Depending on your armor class, there's a real sense of weight to your actions. Every movement feels deliberate. Think like Gears of War, but not just slamming into walls. Sprinting across the battlefield isn't effortless. Your character stumbles over uneven terrain. It slows down when wading through deep snow or trudging up a steep hill. If you're using light armor, your body will get thrown into the air for massive explosions, and the recoil from heavy weapons makes them unstable. Your armor isn't just for show. It can make you a walking tank or a nimble scout for your team. Then there's the terrain itself, which plays a massive role in the combat. One mission might have you hacking through a dense jungle, visibility low, as bug holes erupt all around you. Another could place you in a barren desert, scrambling to find cover as these hulking automatons are shooting from all sides. It's never just a backdrop, it's part of the fight. The sense of immersion is so strong that even simple things like diving to the ground to reload feels intense. Every mission is like a war story waiting to be told, full of moments that sound utterly ridiculous unless you were there. And that's what makes it so special. It's the kind of game where you walk away from a session with your friends and immediately start recapping how you just survived that absolute chaos. Yeah, you know you're gonna be fucked when your teammate throws that napalm airstrike again. But even in these moments, the game never stops being fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and neither should you. And let's not forget enemy density, which is another key part of why Helldivers is so damn satisfying. You're not just fighting a couple of bullet sponge enemies that stare at you menacingly. You're mowing down battalions. Dozens of enemies rushing you from all sides. Relentless, overwhelming, a tide of death that only stops when you make it stop. That feeling of watching a small army explode in a glorious shower of gore and metal? Stupendous. Pure, unfiltered dopamine. The sheer amount of mobs you face at any given time makes the combat feel intense, pushing you and your squad to the absolute limit. And the best part, it never feels unfair, or at least most of the time. If you're proactive enough, you can mitigate most of the enemy's reinforcements by taking out certain enemies, because it's not just about mindlessly holding down the trigger, as much as I want to do that. Getting into higher difficulties, this game forces you to be strategic. Running in guns blazing will only get you so far. You'll need to coordinate, manage resources, and most importantly, not accidentally call an orbital strike on yourself. So obviously, the more communication with your team, the better. So please, for the love of God, stop setting up new mortars! Over the past year, Arrowhead has released a bevy of free updates, like new enemy types, additional weapons and stratagems, and fine-tune the difficulty curve to cater to both casual squads and veterans alike. I don't have like a full list or anything, but the Illuminate are pretty cool. These squids have got to go! They also added their version of a Warthog, which is probably my favorite addition. Yeah, I totally know how to drive this thing. It's all gonna work out. The War Bond system hasn't changed and is really forgiving, since they don't expire after you buy them, so you can complete them at your own pace. It doesn't feel money grubby, which goes a long way with me. Imagine not alienating your most avid fan base. Regular balance patches and quality of life improvements like faster load times, more user-friendly matchmaking, add in seasonal events to keep the community buzzing, and you've got a game that just won't quit, making it absolutely worth it jumping in today. So has Super Earth fallen? Absolutely not. Helldivers 2 is still the co-op PvE experience to beat. While other games try and fail to capture the magic of cooperative gameplay, Helldivers 2 has mastered. If you haven't yet answered the call to defend freedom, what are you waiting for? The galaxy still needs you, soldier, and for all that is good and holy, watch where you're dropping those supplies. That just about does it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and consider liking or subscribing if you made it this far. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you, bye. going. Gotta get out of the way. Oh. Wanda, no. Wanda, no.